Sam. Sulek Life.
All right. Yeah, I guess I forgot to mention, no more Camry. Look at the new whip. Pretty sleek. Come on. I'm just kidding. It's a rental. I'm on a trip, and I'm out in the mountains. I'll tell you, this morning was fucking nuts. I go in to do my cardio, 30 minutes, and honestly, like, the intensity, it felt the same as normal. Like, I was breathing fine. I wasn't like, I was just doing my 30 minutes like normal. But at the end of it, dude, I was just beat red. I was looking it up. It's something about training in higher altitude makes you a little bit more prone to have your, I don't know, barely subsurface level, what are they called? Capillaries, just be a bit more flush with blood. But before and after, like if I took a picture, and I'm not talking just my face, I mean like my whole body. Before and after I did the 30 minutes, I may as well have sat in like a sun tanning machine for like half an hour. Like I was comically red. But 30 minutes after, plus having some AC on in the car, and I was back to normal. But for a second I was like, Jesus, dude, what the hell's going on with me? Did I eat something I'm allergic to? That was kind of freaky. But plan now, go smash back. And I'm pretty excited because this gym has some, I don't want to, like, not groundbreaking, of course. I'm fine with a back day of just lat pull downs, cable rows, and some pullovers. But some machines, I just like them. They're made with care. I'm talking about some of the hammer strength, underhanded pull downs and rows. I love those. They're kind of, I don't know, maybe they're just more expensive because they are pretty bulky. I mean, oh my goodness. It's not just like a weight stack with a few cables on a little metal rig. It's like just massive arms of steel, so you can pull on one side and have the weight on the other side go up. So I guess it would make sense that they're a little bit more scarce in just regular gyms. But whenever I get to use them, love it. There's also a chest-supported T-bar row, which I'm not exactly sure what machines I'm going to use. I'm kind of going to get in there and see what I think is going to feel good once I'm warmed up. Because until I'm actually in there and I get the stuff in front of me, I don't know. It just doesn't really make sense to pick something based on how you feel before you even get to the gym, right? Like, it's like I know I like lat pull downs, but what if when I get in there and I see a lat pull down in front of me and a machine pull down in front of me? I'm not really sure what I'm going to pick. So that's kind of why I like having a bit more of an open training style, because once I'm actually there, I don't have to just read off a piece of paper and be like, oh, I wish I didn't have to do these pull downs. I wish I could do this instead. Well, whatever. It's on the piece of paper. I'm not going to say it's going to give you groundbreaking changes to swap movements out like that, because at the end of the day, I mean, they both hit the same muscle groups in basically the same way. But I think the added level of comfortability of doing a movement that you feel like doing right then and there, it's going to let you go harder, and the more hard sets you can get under your belt per workout, leave, eat your food and repeat, the better, and I don't think that's anything new. I don't think that's anything that someone has to hear and think, no way, if I go hard, I'm gonna make progress? Are you serious? I've never heard that before. I've just been doing like, a couple reps and then racking it. Oh, shit, I'm supposed to go hard. Now I get it. We all know it. Everybody knows it. But does everybody do it? That's where things get a little hairy. So, whatever you got to do to make sure that your lifts are composed of really hard sets, that's what you got to do, man. Eddie Hall style. I don't know if he does this during his training, but I'm just going to use it as an example. he's giving a speech about what he was thinking about before he did that like 500 kilo deadlift, and he's like, thinking there's like, fuck, what did he even say? He was saying some shit like he's imagining his kids underneath a car and he's got to pick it up to save them, or stuff like that. And not all of your sets are going to require that sort of let's I don't know, that kind of mental imagery, right? Every set, you don't have to be like Dorian and be like, somebody's got a gun to your little baby's head, and if you don't get one more rep, he's gonna blow his brains out, or something like that. And don't judge me on that impression, right? No disrespect meant. But if you play some specific music, get in the zone, try not to goof off too much. The gym isn't just, I definitely don't treat it as a place of just pure work. There's some fun involved too, right? You get to see your buddies doing whatever they're doing, hopefully going hard. Hopefully those are the only people you're associating with, right? The freaks. But you do your sets, you get some chit chat in the middle. It's fun, But that's sort of not a, let me think, what's the word? It's like, I would hope that going hard is the prerequisite to fun, Like if I was in the gym and I was having a really scrappy lift, I would definitely not be so, I wouldn't be so chatty. I think I'd be a little bit upset and I'd be like, fuck. But, if everything's going good, then I'd probably be a little bit more prone to stop somebody between their sets and just, say whatever. But that pretty much covers what we're going to bust out. Now we just have to get in there. When I packed for this trip, I didn't bring the Sam Sulek pre, the Hostile Blue Shark Gummy Hostility Foundation. All I brought was a tub of, crap. It was the Kiwi Strawberry Bloodshot, and then the Mango Punch Hostility. So Bloodshot being the stim-free pre, Hostility being the one with a little bit of caffeine, with just a little extra kick. But I forgot to bring beta-alanine, because I've gotten into a habit of using the Blue Shark one, because it has beta-alanine in it. I forgot to bring it, so I'm missing out on that tingle sensation. But I'll be alright. So, 10-ish more minutes. Let's just cut to whatever that first working set is going to be. And I feel like this does need clarified. I do not, under any circumstance, condone just jumping into the gym, grabbing onto a crazy amount of weight, and just starting like that. When I say let's jump into the first working set, and then I cut to like 3 plates on bench, or like the stack on hamstring curls, or some heavy ass row like we're about to do, that's not the first thing. I don't just run in there and throw up all that weight. That is just, that's beyond foolish, of course. There's a bit of a warm-up period. And not even just like doing light reps. Before I move into any kind of movement, be it chest, back, legs, arms, right? I start off usually with the cables. That's just what I'm most comfortable with. Sometimes dumbbells if the cables are taken. But everything that's going to be involved in what I'm doing, I want to make sure not only just feels good, like if I'm doing back like I'm about to, I would not want to jump straight into a crazy heavy set if like my left lat feels really, I don't know, like let's say I pulled it or something, right? And one thing that I like about the warm-up is it kind of acts as like a checklist to make sure that every component in your build is ready for some load. But not only that, but it also kind of warms them up, Like my rotator cuff is definitely not going to be warm just from doing some light sets of rows and then gradually increasing the weight to a heavy set. So I want to start off with some rotator cuff work, a little bit of bicep forearm activation, some pullovers, some light cable rows, all sorts of stuff, which I know is going to come into play. And the one body part for me that takes the most time and kind of has the most shit going on is chest. I know this is back day, but whatever, we'll get into a little chest talk. Before I do any kind of pressing, and even as I'm warming up for chest pressing, like I do 1 plate on bench, then 2 for a few, even between those sets, I'm still going to keep warming up until I feel good. Because for me, and not just from like hearing around or just watching, pattern recognition, like I've got experience of getting a little bit tweaked my shoulder got kind of messed up because I wasn't warm or whatever from not doing a proper warm up. So pre-chest, I mean, I'll take 10 minutes. I'm sitting on the cable machine doing some push downs because I know my triceps are coming to play. A little bit of forearm curls just because I know my forearms are going to come to play from just from holding onto the bar. Obviously, some chest work with some kind of cross body presses. You know, if you can imagine just grabbing one cable and kind of going like this just to really get warm, and then like some front raises with the dumbbells, get the front delt worked. And as long as everything is jiving, then go ahead. And if anything's out of whack, if anything is kind of subpar, doesn't meet FLA regulation, Federal Lifters Association regulation of feeling good, then that's my cue to say, all right, maybe I shouldn't try to bench 4 plates and turn my rotator cuff into dust. Maybe I should back up a little bit and do something I can handle. Or maybe don't press it all and just do some cable work. Turn that chest day from a heavy start to a lot more light squeezing stuff, So I know this isn't crazy information, but I do stand behind all of that warm-up wise. So that's enough little chatting. Let's actually just get in there and get started. All right, now after a proper warm-up, I think I'm finally ready to throw some weight around. So I felt relatively strong because this is actually a light stack. It's only 260, but I think this is a good move. Instead of trying to load on like 245s and make it as heavy as I could go and probably only be able to do a few really good reps and then have a lot of partials, I only added a 25. So this will be a weight that I've got pretty good control of. I'm going to try not to swing too much until I get fatigued enough where, it's kind of just sort of going to have to. Okay. Let's lose the 25 and repeat. Okay. I think two's enough here. Let's move on to maybe something lat biased, pull down style. Moderate weight pull downs, not crazy heavy, just enough weight where I can really do an actual squeeze at the bottom, but obviously as heavy as I can go. One more. Same thing, just different handle. Okay. Not that I think it's like especially effective, but for whatever reason, I've done 2 sets there, and I did 2 sets in the rows. I feel like I'm ready to move on. I was going against what I was talking about earlier, how I was hyping up these machines. I just jumped straight to straight lat pull downs and cable rows. But I do like this. One thing that I do change about it though, I don't use it exactly as intended, is something about the underhand like this. Like it's a good stretch, it's not bad. But with both arms at once, something about the seat, not like the biggest fan of the world, but just a minor adjustment by way of side saddling it like this and then doing one arm at a time. This feels much better. Now that's not a universal thing. Maybe it's just because of my build, but if you can tweak a machine to, make it feel really good for you, guess what? Do you think you should do it? I think you know the answer. There we go. Let's drop the weight. A little bit ambitious with 3 plates. Okay. Oh my God. 2 plates may have been just a little bit too light, but oh my goodness. That was like, oh my God. The closest kind of set I could compare that to is like trying to burn out on leg extensions with really light weight. Like the problem didn't become moving the weight. It just kind of became like dealing with the feeling of the burn while I did it. Whew. Like I wanted to cut that first set at 20 or at 15, but that's enough here. I think let's do something else. We're getting close to the end. I'm thinking just 1 set of pullovers and then I can be done. Now the question is just how heavy do I want to make them? Because I want to go heavy enough that it's, it burns, but light enough that I can actually do good reps. Just a little bit of a, what's the word? A Goldilocks situation. There we go. So I think a little lighter is perfect. Okay, that's enough. Okay. Oh. My left lat's been hanging behind the right one size-wise. So 15 reps, the right one felt just a little too easy, like I called it early, but I want the left lat to catch up. So let's find a mirror and check this shit out. Okay, so I was given some advice from the locals, and they were telling me to go in the back room in like a, it's like a tanning bed room, and it's got a mirror and the lighting's pretty good. It felt kind of funky in there, so I'll just stick to right here. It's not the best, but it's not the worst either, so whatever. You shouldn't have to rely on fancy ass lighting to see a good pump anyway, you know? Right? That's like editing your pictures. If you have to edit it and like set up the light just perfectly so that your pictures look good, then you've kind of missed the point. You've jumped past a very necessary factor, which is just try to get a crazy pump in the first place. So only 2 poses for back. I love the simplicity, just lat spread and front double bi, backwards and forwards. So most of the fluids that are filling up my lats right now come from some Snapple apple, which I was drinking all day. I love it. I don't mind a bunch of sugary drinks as long as you work it off. I think you're all right. When people comment about the sugar intake, you have a point. Oh my god. Let's just hit this last one before I keep talking. No, oh my god. Look, you have a point. If I didn't train or do my cardio, and I ate all the sweet and treats and everything else that I'm always, chunking down, 0 training, 0 cardio, I would be a fucking fat slob. Just, probably be on my computer playing games all day, right? Not ideal. So you have a point. I'm not going to lie to you. But, if you combine it with training, as long as you're not eating so many calories that you're actually like ballooning up body fat wise, then I say you just kind of burned off, man. I'm not going to say it's the best case scenario, but if you're lifting hard, you can have some treats. I stand behind that pretty strongly. But get in the car and roll, man. I'm done. I'm out of here. Okay, now that was pretty good. I don't really have any complaints. Felt good. Felt crazy pumped. Felt nice and hydrated. Got a lot of sleep. Maybe a little bit of excess sleep. I don't know if this is totally legit. I'm usually under the impression the more sleep, the better. But, yeesh. Time zone change plus just general fatigueness. I've spent more time in bed the last few days than I have out of bed. Let's just say it like that. That's how much I've been lazing. But it's all part of recovery. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm still kind of reeling from sleep debt after finals. I know it's been like 2 weeks, but that is not fun. And I never learned my lesson either. I'm like incapable of changing my study habits to actually maintain a good sleep schedule. It really just ends up being like, okay, for this test, it will require, 10 hours worth of studying. And for whatever reason in my freaking brain, that just means, okay, I can study for 10 hours straight the day before. Oh my goodness. Not good. Not something I stand behind for sure. But luckily, it's behind me. I was about to say it's behind me. It's behind us. I've got a pretty big demographic that's still in either high school or college. So hopefully I'm not, saying any trigger words for you. Because honestly, fuck. I still have dreams. I still have dreams where I wake up, or not, I'm not waking up, but I'm asleep. It's usually towards the end of my sleep schedule because I wake up to the dream, but I'm like, I'm asleep. And somehow I'm like, wait a second. I have a so-and-so chemistry exam. Oh crap, I didn't study at all. Like, I even think it for classes I don't even have. Oh my goodness, it's rough. So then I'll wake up. I'm like, wait a second. I'm done. I don't have any more of that. At least not for now. So enjoy the good times while they're here. And try not to think about anything academic at all. Just get focused on pumps. That's the way to do it. But The pre-workout meal was 3 donuts from King Super, spelled with 2 O's. Believe it or not, it's like a grocery store. It's just a off-brand Kroger, in my opinion. That's what I say. You know, if I'm looking for a grocery store, I say, where's the Meijer? Where's the Kroger at? I don't know about no King Super. But they did have a lot of stuff I like. The grocery trip yesterday was all sorts of goodies. Some electrolyte mix, a thing of chocolate milk, a lot of deli turkey. Now, I hear bad things about the quality of deli turkey. Oh my god, I'm losing my mind right now with these hiccups. Not really, but you know what I'm saying. Like, I don't know, man. When I was an early lifter, I wasn't really I mean, in my first year of lifting, I never had ground beef. You know, I wasn't taking down, you know, top round steaks. I was doing a lot of eggs and a lot of turkey in the form of turkey sandwiches, just really thick, to the point where, honestly, for my size, it would be kind of comical how much turkey was on it. Like, people would kind of point it out. So I don't know, I like it. It's definitely better than I'd rather have 50 grams worth of deli meat turkey than I would 50 grams worth of soy protein. And part of that is just, you know, being anti-soy or whatever. But actually basing my opinion off some numbers, which I know it's crazy, science-based, whatever. There are things in your diet which you should be, I don't want to say following like a strict plan on, because obviously, same thing with lifting, there's a lot of different ways to go about it dieting-wise when it comes to, well, when it comes to just changing your body's composition in general. But of course, I'm going to be talking about like weightlifting style, muscle growth. But you know, it's a little hypocritical, because obviously I'm eating all sorts of treats for carbs, and like, you know, probably I'm not eating the most optimal fats. Like, I'm getting my omega-3s, man. I take in a ton of fish oil for sure. But you know, carbs and fats maybe don't look up to me in that way. But protein, you know, I can say this with certainty. You should be eating proteins which are high up on, I don't know what it's called. The basic premise of it is a protein grading scale. And it's on a point system from 0 to 100. The criteria I'm not totally certain on. You know, I'm not a freaking scientist. But, you know, basic premise, 0 to 100. The quality of proteins from different foods. You know, now, what do you think is going to be on top? List off 5 protein sources which are going to be on top. Starting now. Stop. Okay, I may or may not have added like a game show audio. Sometimes I say I'm going to do that and then I forget. But way up top, you know, I think you know what's up there. Steaks, well, beef, you know, turkey, chicken, fish, eggs, milk, you know, animal sources. I'm not going to say you can't build muscle vegan, but you know, regardless of ethical quarrels, it is highest up on the protein scale. You know, catch your own fish with a fishing pole, man. I don't know, do it as well as you can. Go hunt. But the dude eating legit protein sources up there, I'm talking milks, eggs, beef. I think that's where it's at. And not only just as a protein source, but just as kind of a complete food. I mean, I've gone through periods of like a lot of protein powder as my source of protein. Like I've had days where it's all protein powder, which if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. But I can tell I feel much better, just strength-wise, everything-wise, when I get at least, I'd say about 100 grams of protein worth of red meat in tandem with, you know, a bunch of other sources, which, like I was saying earlier, were up top in that green zone. Now, you work your way down, you know, you get into the C student proteins. What are we looking at? I wouldn't mind actually having this grading scale right in front of me to read off, but I'm not so crazy to do that while I'm driving. I'm not texting either. I'm just looking at my, there we go, look at my maps. Because these roads are freaking curvy all over the place. There's no way I could remember my way. But as we get down towards, you know, the 60 points out of 100 and lower, I mean, you We're looking at vegetable proteins. We're looking at, wheat, soys, stuff like that, like tofu, that sort of thing. Which, I mean, I'm just going to say I'm not going to prioritize that sort of stuff. And honestly, I don't even really count it. Like, if you look in the nutritional, nutritional table? It's, what the hell is it called? The nutrition facts on any food you're eating. At least anything bagged. Anything that's not labeled like that, just look it up online. Macros in so-and-so amount of ground beef or something like that, But you look at the nutrition facts, and let's say you're looking at 2 slices of bread, or you got an Italian loaf, sandwich style, which you're going to put a bunch of turkey, mustard, and mayonnaise on. That's going to be me in about 20 minutes, right? Now, it's going to say about 50-ish grams of carbs. This is turning into a dieting lecture, so tune in numbers-wise. It's going to say 50 grams of carbs, and below that number, it should say grams of fiber. Grams of fiber, and maybe it says 5 grams of fiber. What that means. You might have to look a little bit closer, just because sometimes it'll list the soluble and insoluble fiber. But if you see fiber or insoluble fiber, and it's got, let's say, 5 grams, then that means 5 grams of those quote-unquote carbs in the sandwich, your body isn't going to be able to break down, because those carbs aren't, digestible. They're in longer chains of cellulose, if you know what I'm talking about, right? I mean, the basic building block of carbs, glucose, we're getting back to early kind of chemistry, that little 6-chain thing, that one molecule, right? That's right there. Now, sugars and sweets, those are a few of those connected, but only a few, maybe 3 or 4, or 2, or even 1 if you get something crazy simple, like just straight up glucose, I guess, right? And then they can become more complex. Like if you're eating oatmeal, that's going to be made of much more complex chains of the glucose, which means it takes a lot longer to actually break it down and be able to use it for energy, right? That's what calories are. It's just the amount of energy in the food that you're eating. Now, insoluble fiber are just chains of that glucose, the same shit as like sugar, but it's just so long that your stomach's like, shit, man, I don't know what to do with this. I'll just freaking pass it right through me. I can't break this shit down, Like, that's what's in fucking grasses and trees. There's a reason why a cow has fucking 5 stomachs or so, because it takes a while to break that kind of shit down. But what I'm getting at is when you see that fiber label, it means you can take that amount of carbs, or that many grams of fiber, off the total. Because it'll say total carbs, 50 grams, and fiber, 5. I mean, it's 45 grams of actual carbs, which you're breaking down for energy when you eat that sandwich, or that piece of bread. Fats, there's no fats that you're not going to be able to break down, at least not foods. I guess soap or whatever. Don't even think about that. That's just being stupid. So fats always count, right? 5 grams of fat, that's getting plugged into your stupid, simple macro tracker. You can do Fitness Pal, or I don't know. That one seems kind of complicated for me. I want this shit just right there in front of me. Now, when it comes to protein, that sandwich is going to say maybe 5, or that piece of bread is going to say maybe 5 grams of protein. Now, I'm going to look at that and say, yeah, right. Yeah, sure. I'm not going to plug that in at all. Just because it's not a quality protein source. Now, people who actually do track their calories, when I say that, they're going to respond and say, but it's still calories. Even if it's not a complete protein, it's still protein, which has 4 calories per gram. So you're still going to get energy from it, which, yes, I agree with. So in a real dieting phase, if you're trying to cut down, if you're trying to lose body fat, then do take that into account, just because it is adding to your caloric load. Because if you start, not counting protein when you're dieting, then you could eat so much and not even be tracking it that you won't even be in a deficit anymore. But that's for people who are actually tracking their shit for real. But in a bulking context or a maintenance context, pick a number around probably 1.5-ish grams per pound of body weight of protein. So if you're a 150-pound dog, well, I'd say minimum eat at least a gram per pound. So if you're 150, eat 150 grams. If you're 200, I guess I do a gram per pound of body weight. If you're a 200 pounder, for one thing, I salute you, but also you should be getting 200 grams of protein. Any 250 pounders, whoa, right? 250, you know? So relatively simple there. Some people, I mean, 1 gram, you're good. And or 1 gram per pound of body weight, you're good, there we go. But again, that's of quality sources. So if I have 250 grams of protein totaled, technically, for the day, but 50 grams of that were from, just breads or, I don't know, beans. I don't know the protein quality of beans. Maybe it's up there pretty high, and I should be eating more. But let's say 50 grams of the protein for my day so far haven't been from really good sources that are high up on my grading scale. Then I'd be inclined to want to eat another 50 grams of, I don't know, chicken, or maybe have a shake or something, So that's what I'm talking about there. When I'm dieting down, I get much more talkative about macro tracking, because I would say in a dieting context, it is the absolute best method, at least in terms of efficiency and effectiveness, if you can actually do it, to lose body fat. Sure, you could probably get leaner doing some kind of Atkins, whatever. Not going to knock on that. It's insanely popular. It must work for a few people. But if you know that you've been eating 3,000 calories per day, and that's your maintenance, that's how many calories you eat just to live and stay the same weight, then if you track your stuff and you're actually diligent, and you limit yourself at 2,500 calories per day, and you do that repeatedly for the next few weeks, you should see a couple pounds drop off. But when it comes to bulking up, that you could be probably a little bit less strict scale-wise or macro-wise. I still like it just because I'm a friggin' macro tracking addict. But if you're eating enough food that your scale is changing and you're gaining weight on a reasonable basis, definitely you don't want to get into like 5 pounds per week, because that is not 5 pounds of muscle, I can guarantee it. I'm talking maybe pound, a little more than a pound, 2 pounds a week. 2 pounds probably max. Obviously, you got to judge it based on how much body fat you're putting on. If you're not getting too soft, you can eat some more. But if the scale's changing, then clearly the amount of food you're eating is good. Though, if you hit a plateau, then that's a situation where it might be good for you to be tracking your macros, just because then you'll be able to realize, like, okay, I've been doing 4,500 calories for the last 2.5 months. I gained 8 pounds, but now I'm staying at the same weight. I'm not going up anymore. I gotta up it to 5,000, So, best case scenario, you're tracking your macros. But if you're not, at least make sure the scale is changing. Actually, no, I don't even want to. There is no but. Start tracking your macros. I'm gonna lock it in there. But yeah, good back day. Oh yeah, what the heck am I even talking about? That whole rant started because I was going to talk about the pre-workout meal. I had already had a bunch of turkey and some protein from some chocolate milk too. Pre-workout, I'm not really focused. Well, pre and post-workout, I'm not insanely focused on getting protein in. I really just want to have some relatively quick digested carbs, aka sugars, aka sweets. So pre-workout, maybe 20 minutes before more like 30. It was just three supermarket donuts, original glazed, of course. I didn't look at how many calories they were. I was going to track them later because I knew I was going to have some more. But like I was saying in the pose down, as long as you're not putting on a ton of body fat, then I think you're at least not being too crazy if you have some sweets. You're going to be nice and carved up, right? That's what I think about it anyway. But don't forget that when I say anything, unless I really sort of like highlight, like, okay, this is legit, I like this a lot, I really stand behind this, like macro tracking or doing your cardio or pushing your sets really hard, stuff like that. But everything else, a lot of the time with these little bits of like diet advice or whatever, I'm not necessarily talking to you. I'm kind of just talking to myself in the third person, because I'm just talking about what's worked for me over time. So for me, I went down the route of macro tracking, and now I freaking like it. If I went down the route of like just counting my meals and making every meal like a similar amount of proteins and macros or whatever, carbs and fats, then I'd go kind of by meal, more bodybuilder more bodybuilder style, at least historically. But something about the macro tracking method, it just makes the most sense to me. So back was good, lats, traps. I really liked that hammer strength pull down. That felt pretty cool, especially that second set. Oh, it just felt like a marathon. Oh my goodness. But tomorrow is going to be arms, obviously preceded by cardio. Maybe, I don't know what time I'll go in and do that. But 30 minutes, make sure the shirt's sweaty, and then I'm comfortable with that. So should be a relatively, not even relatively, what am I saying? Should be a pretty goddamn freaky pump. I'm already freaking excited about it. In terms of what the actual movements will be, to be determined. Same thing like I was saying earlier. I don't know what kind of movement I want to do till I'm really in there. Unless I have something, even if I have something really locked into my mind, like I'm thinking to myself, oh, okay, I really want to get some pull downs. I really want to get some incline bench. I really want to get some alternating dumbbell curls in. Even if I've got that mindset going in, if for whatever reason, maybe a machine preacher catches my interest, or like a dip machine or just something else, then that's what I'm going to go with. So just a little bit of a peek into the thought process. There we go. So now just get to go home, go to a little ramen restaurant. Probably, I had one bowl the last time I went. I'm going to get 2 this time. I think I need 2 freaking bowls. So if you're bulking, go hard, man. Get some food in your system. I think you already know the drill. If you're dieting down, maybe just tune out the parts where I talk about eating donuts and sweets and treats. I know I'm just fucking tempting you by saying that. So don't even think about it. Don't even think about cheating. You gotta get lean, man. Come on. Were you about to have a cheat day tomorrow? Were you thinking about it? Get out of here. All right, but that's all I got. I'm gonna make it up this hill without crashing before I turn the camera off. There we go. Now I will see you next time.